All right. Now I'm going to try not to be too long on this video. Where's the story? But I want to deal with this tweet that was posted 2 hours ago by Andy Ngo. Okay, this showed up on my Twitter feed. It says, a man in New York City was recorded going on a racist tirade against an Asian American woman. He calls her a monkey and tells her to get out of the country. All right, now I'm about to play this. Viewer discretion advised. All right, I feel like I should say that.
What? What you doing? What? The traffic cop. What? I'm Black American. I'm getting arrested at 10, monkey. Shut up. You don't care about police. I'm a Black American. You monkey. Get out my country.
Okay, did y'all hear that?
You're a monkey. Get out of my fucking country.
Okay, see ya.
Monkey. You fucking piece of shit.
Now, there is another video of this man floating around here. Here it is right here. This was posted a year ago. Okay? This was posted 2 hours ago. This was posted a year ago. Listen to this.
Look at this piece of shit. Bitch, I'm Black American, you piece of shit. Chinese guy you killed. They in everybody's country. They in everybody's country, you fucking monkey. Monkey ass piece of shit. Fucking monkey. You fucking monkey. Piece of shit. Fucking Black American hate you, you ugly monkey. Get the fuck out my country.
Now, I have to cut that short. But I wanted to play this for my fellow Black Americans. Because when I heard this and when I saw this, I felt like it was a joke. A bad joke. This does not seem authentic. And Black Americans that I grew up around, that I've known all my life, come into contact with thousands of Black American people. We would have all looked at this guy sideways. Nobody would have been bigging him up. Black Americans would assume this guy was on serious drugs and was suffering from some type of mental illness. Severe mental illness. But notice how in both videos, posted a year apart, he's pointing out, I'm Black American. People, I suspect, or let me ask the question, is this by design? Is this yet another paid individual who was paid and instructed to go out here and, throw a tirade? Was given certain code words like make sure you say that you're a Black American. That is what this sounds like. Call her all bad names and call her a monkey. This does not seem authentic to me at all. Now, I can't play the rest of that. Obviously, it's riddled with profanity. And I believe you can, YouTube can do things to your streams, when you play videos like that, they can disable the comment section, stuff like that. Don't want them to do that, but you get the point. You don't need to see the whole thing. And this was a year apart, really. So are Black Americans being set up? How long has this been going on? You've heard this saying that white Americans are eventually going to disappear. Well, who do you think is going to take their place? There's a good chance it will be Asian Americans. That's probably the most likely scenario. Asian Americans, maybe some Latino, you know? And guess what? There's a good chance that they won't have as much sympathy. They won't be as reluctant to do things. You catch my drift? See, Black Americans, we can hang slavery, Jim Crow. We can send white people on a guilt trip. You know, a lot of what holds them back is this guilty feeling that they have inside. Well, other groups don't have that issue. You can't make them feel guilty about enslaving you. They didn't have nothing to do with that. You can't make them feel guilty about Jim Crow and, you know, strike them with a guilty conscience. Call them a racist or whatever. You can't give them no moral lecture, no I have a dream speech. They're not trying to hold your hand and sing kumbaya. It's going to be easier for them to lay the hammer down on you. I'm telling you, this is where it looks like the future is headed. Where Black Americans going to be like, man, we should have got our own state back when white people were still here. This is probably your best chance. Right now. We need our own state. It's that simple. When you have elaborate schemes out here like this, and this is, as you all know, one of the more minor type schemes, but it's really not minor. This could be the primary influencer of very harsh policies against Black people. Okay? When people orchestrate stuff like this, it's for a very good reason. And what it looks like to me, I'm just taking a step back and examining the course of history here. You know, you look at the course of history closely, you recognize certain patterns, and it helps you to project into the future. All I'm saying is, it don't look that bright right now on the current path that Black Americans are on. It's not looking that bright. And without land, without governing yourself, you are on a path to extinction. You cannot be forever a second-class fiddle to some group, then the next group, then the next group, and you forever being governed, policed, controlled, ruled over. Essentially, if it's financial and economic, yes. You can't exist on this earth like that forever. And it makes it so much worse if you are as integrated / divided like you are right now. That's just what it is. Okay? I can't accept this idea of a nationless group of people. I mean, if we really a real identifiable group, what identifiable group don't want their own portion of this earth? That's everything to most groups. And maybe that's why we don't have it right now, because we never viewed it as highly important. Why? Because the desire to have it was pretty much removed out of our psyche. Obviously, right? The desire to live by ourselves was sort of removed during segregation, because we saw that, hey, once we're segregated, now we're all in one spot and they can bomb us. You know, that was an act of terrorism. That terrorized black people. Like, oh, it's better for us to be integrated than to be segregated. Now we're a target, flipping government plane dropping bombs on us. They must really view this as a threat to their very existence. And I'm saying an important enough portion of them. Obviously, not all white people are racist and out to destroy black people. But the fact that I know that there's some that are that way, that's enough motivation for me. And I don't want people to take that the wrong way. And listen, yes, this is a sad thing. It's a sad moment. But hey, you know, life is not always happy. Let me give you an example. If I were to accept 50 people into my home, they're going to live inside of my home for 50 years. And somebody were to tell me that 10 of those 50 people are bloodthirsty psychopaths, racists, who hate your guts. They hate your very existence. And I have no way of knowing who is who. I'm going to reject all 50. I'm going to say, hey, I'm sorry to the 40 who this had nothing to do with you, and this is not a swipe at you. I just don't want that 10 in my midst. That is how I view integration. Listen, there are some incredible people of all groups. Listen, it's stupid to say that all of any group of people are one way or another way. That's just not the case. But sometimes the bad ones can ruin the whole batch. The bad ones can be bad enough where you won't want to be, where you will want to be separated. Just like you as a white person, you're not willing to live in the hood to prove that you're not racist. How stupid do that sound? All right, you want to talk? Okay. How dumb does that sound to you? Oh, you don't want to live in the projects around all black people? You must be a racist. You don't want to live in the hood? You must be a racist. No. And even if you went to the hood, to the projects, you wouldn't have a problem with all of the people there. Many of them, believe it or not, would be friendly with you. They ain't gonna bother you. You going about your business, they're gonna go on about their business. What a lot of people don't understand about the hood is that as long as you mind your business, you good to go. No matter how rough the community is. Mind your business, leave people alone. Be helpful, be respectful. Don't be disrespectful. But you wouldn't live in the projects because of the hoodlums in the projects. Do you understand? Do you catch my drift, what I'm saying? It's that certain segment of hoodlums in the projects. That's why you would have nothing to do with being racist. Oh, I don't want to be around black people. No. And this is logical. This is logical. Listen, human relationships are hard enough as it is. They're very hard. If we were to separate completely right now, whites and blacks, it would be very difficult to have decent relationships. People would still divide themselves, still fight amongst each other, still belittle each other, find some way to cut another person down, whether, in any way that they possibly can. Human relationships right now in this era are difficult enough as is without the race factor. And look at how reckless human relations are conditioned into people. People are, in this country, literally conditioned to be a narcissist, to have an antisocial personality disorder, and to wear it like a badge of honor. Literally, that's how people are conditioned today. Without the race factor, people would have a very long way to go. They have a lot of work to do. Both whites and blacks would have a whole lot of work to do. Why make matters worse by infusing racism into the picture? That's a recipe for disaster. It's just a reckless way to govern a nation. And I believe a black American state is very practical, basic, and you have to ask, why don't we have it by now? Why has this government not designated a state for black Americans? No state, no reparations, no nothing. Huh? In fact, yeah, you do get something. You get made fun of, made a fool out of, mocked constantly, always made to look a buffoon in media and entertainment. Yeah, that's what you get. Now, check this out. It's not looking good, man. This is very devious, evil stuff. Now, this is a decent article that goes over the fact that the vast majority of hate crimes against Asian Americans, 74.5%, the perpetrators are white. 74.5%. Yet, black people are the face of anti-Asian hate. Easily. That shouldn't even be possible. Especially looking at how much black people have supported Asians throughout the decades. Fought for that immigration bill. Refused to go over there and fight against Asians. Like, Asians done nothing to us. Sticking our necks out for them. You know, being their economic base for decades. Bruce Lee came over here. They put a mask on Bruce Lee. Said, hey, we don't want to see your Asian eyes. But black people embraced Bruce Lee in all his Chineseness. Hell, a lot of black people wanted to be Chinese, watching so many Bruce Lee movies. Man, he was like a hero, iconic figure in the black community. Bruce Lee was. Okay, but Hollywood put a mask on him and said, cover your Asian face. But they want to make black people the face of anti-Asian hate. That's by design, is it not? Is that not by design? It could only be by design. How is it that this anti-Asian thing, they have been very carefully projecting black people as the face of it, the primary culprits of it. But when you look at the actual reports, and when you look at the actual attacks and whatnot, many of them look staged, fake, and I know for a fact, we've already proven that many of them were immigrants. They were not black, which was very telling. Very telling. And I don't like the way this guy was up here talking about black America in both videos. Just randomly out of nowhere, referring to himself as black American. I don't trust that. This dude comes across like a fraud, like a paid puppet. But as usual, they choose the worst types of people to be the face of black people. Black people, if you notice, are the only group where their lowest class are projected as the face of the entire group. Every group has its degenerates, but their degenerates is not the face of their community. That's only done with black people, and everybody does it. Quite often, even black people themselves. That's why I say this racism is extremely powerful, because a lot of it, black people participate in themselves. I've run across, even today, more black people. Now, granted, a lot of them older, more black people than I care to remember, who project this same idea that the worst types of black males should be used as the face of black males. Same for black females. That is a people on a path to destruction, to extinction. You can't survive. And this is how virtually every single group on the planet does this with black Americans. Identify us with, they're quick to call you, oh, baby mamas. You're defined by these stereotypes and lies. Listen, I've studied a lot of groups in my life. I've never seen a group as targeted on a political level, economic level, social level, educational or miseducational as black Americans. It is mind-blowing stuff. I know for a fact that there are a lot of psychologists and whatnot who marvel at the story of black Americans. Black Americans are and have been, ever since we've been over here, in a type of war. And we're not winning. We are not winning. Social media has made it a lot worse. Nobody can tell me that this ain't orchestrated. And it's just one out of many who clearly paid puppets and just happened to be on camera. He just happened to be saying the exact same things, using the same code words. Wow. Like, you have to marvel at that. Like, how on earth could there be a group of people somewhere that determined to just destroy black people? Just totally, like, diminish the quality of your existence. It's like, it's truly remarkable. An unprecedented evil force is against black America. That's irrefutable. And I'm saying this despite all of the wonderful non-black people. White, Asian, Mexican. There are cool people in all races. I'm specifically talking about, and I feel comfortable talking about this because what I found is the people who are not racist, they don't feel like you're talking about them anyways. Yeah? They don't understand either. People of all groups do things that's puzzling to other people within their own group. If you're a black person, you know full well that there are some black people who do things and say things that you can't wrap your head around. Okay? We just being truthful here. That's the truth. But our worst shouldn't be projected as the face. And when that has stuck the way it has with us, listen, you're in a state of emergency. The very least thing you need is your own state, and try to rectify the damage that has been done. But you all know full well, even in your own state, you're going to be targeted. Those same little patch of lunatics will target you. And listen, you're not doing black people any favors by pretending like this sect is not dangerous. Okay, what the white people who are not racist, you know full well that the white people who are racist, many of those racist white people are extremely dangerous and damaging. Many of them hold high positions. They're able to promote, demote, hire, fire, so on and so forth. All right, let's stop playing dumb here. This is crazy. This is like something, no, this is more sophisticated than any movie that I can think of right now. I mean, really? And this, of course, is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, but definitely check out this article. Very good stuff. I will share a link. You know, when you cut through all of the hoopla and look at the actual numbers, you have to question, why on earth did the media try so hard, and they pretty much did successfully, to project the number one anti-Asian group as black Americans? If you know that these are the actual numbers, why would you do that? They're not stupid. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Now, this right here. Now, let's say you have another segment. They're not out here shooting black people. They're not overt racist, but, you know, they get into stuff like this sometimes. This is weird. And you know what? This is a little too weird for me. A little too weird for me. And to be honest, this might sound crazy. Blackface in general, I'm starting to feel flattered by it. Starting to feel flattered. You know, black people, we've reacted in a way over the decades to this as if we ourselves believe something's wrong with dark skin. Nothing wrong with our skin. And we don't look like that. Skin don't look like that. We all know that we look 100 times more attractive than these people right here with black paint on their face. And they're pretending to be us. How flattering. Because listen, I have never pretended to be a white person. I've never seen a black person, not even one. You know, you got your comedians and all that, but those Hollywood fools, I don't count them into nothing. They into all types of witchcraft and occults. Man, please. Them is not real people. Them Hollywood clowns, they're like robots. I ain't never seen no black person who paint their face white. That wouldn't even work anyways. It looked just as silly as they look black. We're gonna paint our face white. That'll just look goofy. And that's how they look. They look goofy to me. You know, I've been seeing this for years, all my life, stuff like this, racist stuff. And as I get older, I'm starting to feel different about it. Because listen, if you got that much energy and interest, even if it's in a negative way, a dehumanizing way, you got issues. You got issues. There's no way I'm going to devote all that energy and augment my physical being, my appearance. Listen, there are a lot of cool, a lot of funny white people. But listen, I'm not about to paint my face up and pretend to be a white person. That's just weird, cringy, goofy. And listen, if I know that there are always going to be people like this in the mix, I'm good. Give me my check. Give me my state. Because believe it or not, this type of behavior right here actually was associated with an increase in lynchings of black Americans. Oh yeah. It made them feel less guilty about attacking black Americans. Oh, they're just caricatures anyways. And listen, we may never fully understand or fully wrap our head around how a racist person thinks. You know, and we need to accept the fact that we'll never understand it. So let's stop trying to cure it. Okay? Be happy with the white people who are not racist. You don't have to reform all of them. You know, I get exhausted with black people out here. We need to do better. Oh, we need to look past color. Lord, haven't you figured out by now that you just can't reform 100% of any people? That's just a human law. It's just a law. And if that group that you can't reform is very destructive and has a big impact on your existence, you might want to get away from them. Huh? But listen, we're dealing with evil forces here. A lot of these lunatics, their ego rests in their ability to project themselves as superior to black people. Black people's existence is like a part of their drug, and they need you around to put beneath themselves to feel good about themselves. With a lot of these lunatics, I'm just talking about these white supremacists, their ego is almost totally dependent on their belief that they're superior to black people. Now, do you think you can educate a person like that? Of course not. You're not going to reform a person with that type of mentality, where everything, their entire being, their self-worth their feeling of importance in the world is almost exclusively based on this idea of race superiority. So if black people are not around, they lose that. So no matter what type of facts you hit them with, they want to believe something else. And listen, that's one thing I've learned in life. When people want to believe something, they're going to always want to believe it. They're going to believe it no matter how many facts you hit them with, no matter how badly you deconstruct their argument. They're going to believe something that's baseless, that don't make no sense, that's contradictory, and say that's their faith, they believe it. That's just how it is. Stop trying to reform everybody. When you do that for so long, always trying to reform lunatics, you turn into a lunatic yourself. You go crazy trying to reform crazy people. That's the whole point. You understand the way to keep your sanity is to disengage. Okay, that's a nutty thing to do in itself. Part of you being intelligent is understanding a lunatic when you see him. Don't tell me that lunatics like this are normal people and we just need to reform them and hug them. Get out of here. Get my check, get my state, and shut up. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, but this is strange. You know, this is weird stuff. They've attacked our families. They strategically attacked our families. As late as the 1960s, around 75% of black homes two-parent, and overnight, majority single mothers. That leads to impoverishment, poverty, and all types of dysfunctions. Like, what type of evil, wicked beast would attack people's families after already having attacked people's families for hundreds of years in the form of slavery? Black people, black Americans, have always been on this passive road to genocide. It's very light and gradual. You've gone through a series of different things over long periods of time intended to diminish your very existence. Right? This does not support longevity, your existence in this world. Using black people for science experiments. When you break up a people's family and put divisions between people like that, your plan is to try to exterminate those people. You can't tell me it's not. What other intention you got? You trying to create single mother homes. Yeah, that's your intention. You trying to wipe a people out doing stuff like that. And that is, people, what do you think scientific racism was all about? It was all about justifying the idea that black Americans should be exterminated. Who was that? I think a president said that he wished there was some quiet, sort of indirect way to get rid of black Americans. It's not looking good, man. And right now, I think a lot of people support black Americans. It's real bad when you look at stuff like Black Lives Matter, where they created this organization that wasn't even started by black Americans. These people were immigrants and paid by who? What was the guy's name? Giorgio, right? Or something like that. He funds a so-called black organization How's it? Okay, when has that been done? The leading black organization funded by people who not even black? Okay, I'd like to know what that organization stands for. Oh, they stand for a 2 female headed household only. And the only time they want to deal with heterosexual black males is when they want to use their death to push other agendas. They had this rule with Black Lives Matter that they would only deal with black males if those black males, you can only climb in rank or get rank, whatever, be a leader, be a spokesperson in Black Lives Matter as a black male if you were trans or homosexual. It was a lot worse when it first started. Black Lives Matter was completely, and still is, anti-heterosexual black male. So even that, the so-called black organization, is designed to eradicate you. Like, there's so many different ways that blacks are targeted. Even through your diet, like I talked about in the other video. Now, that might be a coincidence, maybe. But early on, you had a lot of white doctors come out and say, you know what? Black people need to be on a different diet. And we do. And it's virtually the opposite of the standard diet that we have today. On the diet, just the food alone, look at how it's sending us to an early grave. A lot of stillborns, a lot of birth defects, all kind of bad, crazy stuff happening to us because we not governing ourselves. Society is not geared in all ways for our benefit the way society is geared for the benefit of other groups who govern themselves. That's a problem. This is a very basic problem. This is nothing racist or nothing like that. But man, you attack a people's families. Listen, a lot of black males got a problem with black females wearing weaves, this fake synthetic hair. It's not even fake hair. It's real hair. They come from real people. And, accusing them of trying to look like white women and so on and so forth. Yes, it's an unfortunate thing. It's very unfortunate. But, and I hate to say this, but now ain't the time to deal with that. And I know some of you might say, well, if we don't deal with that, we'll never have the type of families that's required to overcome the issues that we have. That might be true. Might be some truth in that. But let me tell you, it's not going to happen unless you govern yourself. It's just not. Black females have unique genetics, and it's not the standard of beauty in this country. It's just not. And you can't expect it to be. I mean, if you don't control, the standard will be whatever the people who control it is. Right? They're going to make themselves the standard of beauty. And that's what they should do. And that's what we should do. Only then will you be able to, nurture the type of beauty standard that will produce healthy-minded black people. Because that messes with, black women have always been heavily attacked. Like, when it comes to beauty, how we look, they've always been under more attack than black males. Like, it was just always unacceptable for black women to come up to be attractive, to be beautiful. You know, forcing them to cover their hair, and you can't show your hair unless it look like mine. And you better make it look exactly like mine. Don't be looking like a, you know, an Afro chick. You know, and beauty, you dealing with the beauty thing, that's more a woman thing anyways. When you talk about looks and stuff like that, females of all species value their appearance. That's just the way it is. Their job, their natural job is to seduce males. Okay, so it's built in. But that can't happen. You can't reform. You can't fix some of the problems that black people have right now without a nation. That's the problem. Without governing yourselves, creating your own standards, creating the norm, being in control of what people see normally on a day-to-day basis, every day, all day. That's what really conditions people's minds. It's what they see on a constant basis. Was it consistency? Most people know that. And it's real simple. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. It would be very difficult for black women to grow up and not view the white beauty standard as the best standard of beauty. It would be difficult. You know, just like if this was a black world, you know, and black features dominated, it would be difficult for people with different genetics to think that their genetics was fly. It's just an environment thing. It's not a bug in your head. It's not that you, it's not even really that you're so brainwashed. Black people here take more time. Okay? And listen, I'm saying you need to take the time. Yeah, good things usually don't come fast. Take your time, don't complain, wake up a little earlier. That's no excuse. I want to hear that. That it take too much time. Let me not get into that. But I'm saying now ain't the time. We can't argue with that. We facing destruction right now. We need to focus on just staying alive. When you focusing on just staying alive, you ain't got time to be talking about some things. Some things gonna have to wait. It's gonna have to wait. All right? The world is falling. Good Lord. You see this? This title? This is why we need our own state. And because this is irrefutable. I mean, what other group has had their families attacked and targeted by the ruling class? What other group has had that happen? That is detrimental, man. Detrimental. Wow. So again, that just compiles onto the reparations owed to black Americans. Because it's all these different things in connection with the same people that you enslaved for hundreds of years. Then you let them free and hit them with a bunch of black code laws, Jim Crow laws. Wow. No. You know, just passing out a check, that's not enough. We need an option to live in our own state independently. That's how it needs to go down. Oh, Nate, yeah, they talk about it here. Wow, this is in the New York Times, of all places, that the breakdown of traditional family structure is one of the underlying causes of black poverty. Yes, of course, we all know that, but it's not just poverty. It's not just a poverty thing. It messes up the kids' minds. Only one parent? That's not balanced. That's unnatural. That's unnatural. You know? all that gender divide, people, that was meant and carefully passed to black people. The gender divide strategy is just one of many, many tools that's being used to eradicate black Americans, intentionally or not. You can't have a long future with narratives like this. Beliefs and whatnot. It's very serious. Toxic racism can alter your genes. Just dealing with racism can alter your genes. Now listen, a lot of people say, you know, black people call stuff racist that's not really racist. You know, they call this racist. It's not racist. They call this situation a situation of racism. It was not a situation of racism. And yeah, there are cases where black people are paranoid. I really don't have no problem admitting that. Like, yeah, I'm a suspect that race was a factor. Yeah, you always gotta, if it's possible, you may as well suspect it. Now, to come out and accuse people, that's a whole different thing. But whether they accuse you or just believe it quietly, privately themselves is irrelevant. It's still there, and it still is a stressor on your mind and neurological system. No matter if you verbally accuse these people of being racist or if you privately feel like race may be a factor, it still has the same negative effect on your mind and neurological system. And it still contributes to shortening your lifespan, impacting your heart in a negative way and nerves. And listen, I don't want to exist like that. Is that not easy to understand? I don't want to live in a world like that. I want to know how it would feel stress-free, completely stress-free. As I've grown older, I've had these different pains and whatnot around my skull, my neck muscles and all this kind of stuff, crazy tension. Maybe it wouldn't be there if I was in my black state with my check. Tell you what, I'd be a lot happier right now. Huh? Damages the genes and shortens lives. It do a lot more than that, man. It do a lot more than that. Because, you know, racism is something I don't believe people in general are supposed to deal with. It's just not. It's just an abnormal social problem. Very abnormal, dysfunctional, and destructive. Full of a bunch of lies, fake propaganda. Now, let's say China takes over and they're the superpower. It's China. A lot of people say China is the next superpower. Well, if that happens, we're going to have a whole lot of Chinese friends. Right? A lot of Chinese friends. I got Chinese friends now. Have for a long time. Just like with any group. If it would be Indians, well, black people would have a whole lot of Indian friends. Huh? Just like right now. Black people have a whole lot of white friends. But guess what? You're going to have that lunatic segment who going to target you. There's this anti-black American bug. This infects people all over the world like no other infection. You can't name one group of people who you can find other groups of people who can't stand them and disrespect them all over the world. It's only black Americans. People be coming here from parts of the world I never even heard before, talking about nigga this, monkey that, low IQ this. They spew all of the racist rhetoric coming from up under a rock somewhere overseas. Is it because that racist propaganda is projected all over the world? How our image is projected to the world is extremely important. It's extremely important. You know? Now, I'm not saying that that's completely the reason how we're projected over there, but I think it's hard to argue that it's a part of the reason. How we're projected to the world is a factor, right? It does have influence. It does influence people's perception of us in certain ways. Of course, they're free to interpret things however they want. You know, thing is, you're not in control of how you're projecting yourself. And we should want to live in a world where we control our own image. It's really that simple. Now, this makes me uncomfortable. If China takes over, this makes me, the existence of these blackface things in China makes me uncomfortable, because you see, here in America, blackface coincided with an increase of attacks on black people. Okay, so it might be fun and games. You think it's funny, oh ha ha. You know, we're human. You shouldn't play around like that. You're going to quietly influence and encourage yourself to do something devious. I don't like this. And I really don't like it because I don't do it myself. Never seen nobody do it. Black people dressing up and painting their face, trying to look like an Asian person. You know how goofy that would be? You'll get cut up so bad. You get dumped on, man. People would talk about you, trying to paint your face and act like you Asian or act like you white. How goofy and cringe that is. And what did you saying that this, they have like shows over there. Like stage shows. Blackface stage shows. I'm not kidding. I believe I showed some of them before. So, listen, you might have your friends, but listen, if that lunatic is going to jump out of the bush and whack me across the head with a baseball bat, then I'm going to just have to pass on visiting your home. Yeah? Don't take it the wrong way. Don't hold it against me. I'm just trying not to lose my head. That's how we should look at this. Anytime I bring up our own state reparations, people automatically assume, oh, you must hate people who ain't black. Everybody who's not a black American, you must hate them. What? No. And really, you know what? A lot of people have this phobia. You know how they say black people pull the race card? A lot of other people pull the race card too. They're quick to try to call black Americans racist. It's like this burning desire that a lot of them have. And it is so bad that they will call us racist in situations that is not racism. Okay? If y'all want to say that black people have inherited trauma, inherited trauma, then admit that you may have inherited a cringe, weird, crazy, sick spirit yourself. Yeah? You want to talk about the trauma my ancestors went through. Okay, so what was going on in the mind of your ancestors that you may have inherited it? Oh, we know what that is. A complete lunatic. And you're sprinkled all throughout the population. I don't know who's who, so I don't want to go into that room. Don't tell me you got a problem with that. That's very practical and intelligent, as a matter of fact. That's an intelligent thing for me to do. I don't even know what you're talking about. Ain't nothing. Don't sit there and call me racist or hateful because I don't want to come around a bunch of lunatics. No, thank you. And to be honest, people, look, I don't know where y'all from, but if we go to some black gathering, a bunch of black people, and we got a black group who seriously and genuinely paint their face bright yellow or white and pretend to be an Asian or white person, those black people probably get beat up. Man, they would get talked about so bad. What in the world are these goofballs doing? And you think that's going to be funny? How would that even be funny? Nah, the visuals, the optics would kill it just from the door. This bothers me. These are Asian people right here. Now, this woman almost looks black. Some of them might be black. Or it might be some, well applied makeup. Now, this is an Asian woman right here. Yeah, they have these elaborate shows. It's like, okay, all right. Got these crazy blackface. No, look at this one. And this is why I said some of this stuff, believe it or not, I'm lightweight flattered. Yeah. After I look at it for so long, I'm like, man, okay, I'm flattered. Because, wow, I must be rent-free in your head. For whatever reason, I'm rent-free in your head, and you ain't rent-free in mine. At least not in the way of me trying to pretend to be you. Huh? The only way that you in my head is me pointing out how weird and cringe it is for you to pretend to be me. Look at this woman right here. It's an Asian woman. As an Asian woman, I'm flattered. Huh? You dig my female counterpart. You dig them genetics. Okay, thank you. Your hair looks nice too. But listen, I'm not about to do this. I'm not doing this. They're taking this seriously, man. They really taking this much time applying this makeup, getting the afro wig. Now, believe it or not, there's a lot of them who are like fascinated with black people. And they really get their hair afroed. People do everything all across the world, man. You're going to find people doing all kinds of stuff. But no, this makes me uneasy. This makes me uneasy. This gives me the impression that these people might laugh as they're doing this or whatever and tell me it's a joke. But it'll make it easier for them to do something foul. Okay, that's the pattern. That's the pattern we've seen in this country. So I'm not about to welcome nothing like this with open arms. Malaysian company slammed for blackface commercial. Now, it's like, wow. Are they really doing this to try to insult black people? I mean, really? Some of these people, do you really think they're doing it to mock black people? Or is it like a weird fascination with black people? It's crazy. Like, it seems at least partially to be some weird fascination with black people, black Americans specifically, because when they put this paint on and stuff, a lot of times, most often, they start acting like black Americans, not really acting like us, but that's who they're trying to portray. I don't know. It's kind of crazy, man. Now, black people do the same thing too, but in a different way. They take on Asian names. Black people are real good for that. Wu-Tang Clan, Asia this, China that. And you don't see black people. You don't see no Asian people call themselves Africa this and Miss Black that. So people are crazy in general. They borrow and take and swip and swap. And if it was all fun and games, I wouldn't have no problem with it. But man, we've seen it take a wrong or a bad turn. Like, as we all know, a lot of stuff started out as a joke. Jim Crow started off as a joke. It always started out as fun and games until it's no longer fun and games. I'm not playing no games. I don't want to play no games at all. I don't want to be around people who play games. I don't want people who play games around me. You see, people around me like this increase the chance I go to jail or prison. Yeah? If you catch my drift. Just saying. There's a whole lot of reasons to have a black state. It's far too important, man. It's too important. And for these white folks, somebody left a comment in the comment section in one of my videos. Let me find that comment right now. I'm about to respond to it live right now. She said something like, can't we all just get along? She said that. She said, can't we all just get along? I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am. Listen, this is all in good spirit. I'm not trying to attack you, not trying to put you on the spot. But we're going to have to deal with that comment that you left on my channel. Specifically, because of the video that she left it on. She left it on, I think, yeah, the 33% one of these where I'm talking about our own state. I'm pulling it up now. Say, can't we all just get along? Yeah, we can. We can't all get along, but some of us can get along, and you will get along just fine. Nothing's going to change for you. If you want to stay in an integrated society, then just stay where you at. Unless we acquire the state that you're in, then you got to bounce. Huh? If you don't want nothing to change and you want to stay in the same type of society that you're in right now, fine. You will have 48 states to do that in. I don't think it's a problem at all. It's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. There's literally nothing wrong. There's no downside to having your own land. Here's the comment right here. Here it is right here. Where are we at? She said, yes, you can. Once you educated them, they won't say it out loud. Our own state, absolutely. That won't work either. Can we all just get along? She said, our own state won't work. Well, not having our own state don't work either. So we've already tried not having our own state, and we see it don't work. Let's try something we haven't tried yet. That's the least you can do. In fact, you really can't say it won't work because we haven't even tried it yet. You don't know. We don't know. It could be like paradise. It could be like, say, Black Wall Street. Who knows? What the black people who lived in Tulsa, Black Wall Street, They didn't have a problem living there. They was just fine. They was balling. Huh? It seemed like this thing in a lot of black people, like they'll feel this emptiness, this misery. Oh, I can never leave all the other people. Fine, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with black Americans who want to live and stay in an integrated society. No, knock yourself out. So, but I'm saying you should support what I want for myself, just like I support what you want for yourself. You want to live in an integrated world? I believe you should have the opportunity to. And the people who want a white state, a black state, should have the opportunity to live in their little world too. Right now, it's just one way, and I don't think it should be one way. Right now, it only caters to one type of, mentality, and it shouldn't. A big reason why you got some of the problems that you have out here might be because you don't have separate states for the people. Simple as that. And when you consider American history, you should, in my opinion, be that much more supportive of a black state. We more than deserve it. Rest assured of that. But be honest, I don't even know if we'd be able to fit. I'm telling y'all now, we don't make up no 12% of this country. We do not make up 12% of this country. You can forget about that. All right? How many of you filled out the census forms last year? When was it? It was recently. They started doing that again. No, I didn't fill none out. Fill out no census. Yeah, that thing is real skewed. Man, there's a lot of people in here for this channel. World, what in the world? What is today? It's Thursday. What y'all doing up in Thursday? Well, I guess some people off tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. Look, I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. I want that type of comfort that a lot of other people have. Yeah? I have a little gray hair. Maybe I shouldn't have gray hair. Maybe it's because of that extra stress. Yeah? Dangerous stuff. And they're constantly, every time we turn around, there's some horrible representative of black people. Black History Month. You should see this thing that they have at my job for Black History Month. And they project this on a large monitor on these huge TV screens all throughout the company where I work. They have this Black History Month. It says Black History Month. And they have two giant maps of Africa on it. It's just straight up Africa. And the funny thing is, there's some people who work there from Africa. And it's like, it makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Always trying to Africanize black Americans. It sounds disrespectful, but we gotta shake that African American title. That's horrible. That's horrible. That's the last thing we need to do is Africanize us. And they're always trying to Africanize us, knowing full well ain't nothing African about us. I've had people tell me, you're not a real African. Yeah, you're right, I'm not. right? So don't Africanize me. They do that to try to steal your land, to instill this idea in you that you're not in your homeland. Man, horrible stuff. Horrible stuff, man. This is like the worst month of the year. Black History Month for me is for other people, because it's cheesy. The history they focus on, oh, the suffering, the suffering, the suffering, as if all we've accomplished is suffering. They'll go over a few inventions, man. That's another reason we need our own state, so we can teach in school what we want to teach. All right? That's the future. Ain't no future right now. Not when they developing organizations to lead you and represent you. You know, getting people from other countries to represent Black Americans. You know you're in trouble when that's going on. And you got politicians and people in high places doing this. That's too strategic, man. It's like, what are you doing that for? Why don't you just get a real Black American and do the right things? No, everything they want to implement is something negative. Look at how they promote certain degenerate things primarily to the Black community, and make it mandatory that so many of our artists talk about certain things before they can get a record deal. And you know, a lot of poor Black people, they're willing to do it. They're willing. Okay, yeah, I'll talk about whatever you want. You want me to rap about this, rap about that? Yeah, fine. Let's do it. Just give me a minute, write my rhymes. This happens. It's like, man, why would you even try to mislead anybody like that? That's scary stuff, man. You got to get away from a people who want to govern you like that. No, I'm sorry. We need to get some righteousness in the community, right? What we've been trying is not working. We got too many fools out here. Now, listen, if we get a Black state, we're going to have a lot of lunatics there. That's a big problem. You know, with both groups, all groups here in the United States, we got mental problems, like real bad, more than any other country in the world. We got real bad mental problems without the race factor. Do you understand? Without the race factor, we are jacked up, both Blacks and whites. The best way to deal with that is to deal with that on our own without the race factor involved. That's the way I see it anyways. Yeah. Oh, man. Insecurity in this world. Oh, man. Like, yeah, it's like nauseating. I work with, oh, man. Let me just say, a lot of older people. I mean, a lot of people take it to their grave. They never get over it. That sense of insecurity. And listen, man, I really don't understand it. I wish I could understand it. But a lot of people are like real paranoid about what people think about them, you know, and before I understood it, I thought like something was wrong with me because I didn't understand it. You know, I didn't understand what was motivating them to say certain things. But insecurity is rampant in this country, man. And it's, I don't know what it's from, you know. I tend to think it's the glorification of material things on the part of these entertainers and musicians, and that I'm sure has a lot to do with it. But insecurity is a major problem, and it leads to a lot of social dysfunctions. You know, we got serious problems. This nation is not being governed properly. It has a degenerate culture. I've researched enough to know that. You got a jacked up, degenerate culture. Your civilization's on the clock. It's on the clock. You've had a lot of black leaders talk about this. Martin Luther King said the exact same thing. He said America is what, a sinking ship? He said the whole country is a sinking ship. I'm not just talking craziness now. Several prominent black leaders in America have said that. America is a sinking ship. The primary thing need to be changed is its culture, is what it influences the everyday people to do, to be involved in, to value. And sadly, this country values projecting black people as the enemy. This is flat out the enemy, public enemy number one. And when they do embrace black people, a lot of times it's in a backhanded way. Look at television. How often do you see healthy black families, black couples? You usually see interracial couples. So it's like they're promoting the extermination of black people. It's like, what is this? Even themselves, to be honest with you. It's like, man, what do you... I just want to be left alone. Don't that make sense? Does that make sense? Are you catching my drift? I want to be left alone. I want to exist where, nothing, there are no forces against me at all. None at all. And I'm not saying that I am not where I want to be because there are forces. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I don't know. I don't know how well I would have done in school, what I've been interested in. None of us know how we would have been. And I'd like to know. And I'd like to know how life would be if I would have benefited from all those generations of work my ancestors put in. That's why I'm going to need that check. Then I'll let you know how life is. That check and that land. All right, now I'll see you on the other side. Shout out to everybody able to join me in this babbling session. And I will see y'all on the next.